So I debated whether or not to break down this trailer, but I think it's a good idea too, because I think we can get some information out of this trailer as far as multiplayer goes. So I'm going to pause it at a couple areas, but for the most part, we're just going to talk right through the trailer. It starts off, we're in space, it shows this kind of hologram looking thing, and it shows that we are near the planet called Luna. Guess what Luna means? It means moon. So in other words, we are on the moon. Then, as you can see, obviously we are in the spaceship. We are Reyes. This is our main character throughout the entire campaign, assumably unless you switch characters a couple of times. Now, it goes into this room. This is kind of like the war room. This is where you make all the decisions, and guess what? You can actually decide what missions you want to do in this campaign, which is a good thing. It's something we really haven't seen too much before in a Call of Duty game. As you can see, there's all these planets, and there's a bunch of missions throughout them. Some are red, some are yellow. I don't know if that's based on difficulty, but as you can see, we go to a red one. You think a red one would be more difficult, and we decide we are going to do that one. Now, it kind of gives us a breakdown of the mission, what we are supposed to do, and how we are supposed to do it. Next up, we need to get a spaceship. As everyone knows who watches futuristic movies, to take down an extremely large spaceship, you need to get in your tiny spaceship, therefore you can take it down. Throughout this room, we can see tons and tons of futuristic shit, including a giant robot off to our right. Whether you get to control one of those, I don't know. If we pause it right here, we can actually see a few things that may actually possibly be in the multiplayer. First of all, off to the right-hand side there, we can see the bullet count. We can see 30 out of 90. That's completely normal. We've seen that in Call of Duty games before. But normally in Call of Duty games, there's one of two things. It's just that bullet count, or you can see the physical bullets themselves, and they go see-through as you shoot them out of the gun. This one, we have a bar, and as you shoot bullets, as you'll see throughout the trailer, that bar will slowly go down and whittle itself down. I don't think we've ever seen that in a Call of Duty game before. Also, at the top of the screen, we have a compass. Why? I don't know. You may need it for certain missions, but it's there. Down in the middle of the screen at the bottom, we have two abilities, an L1 ability and an R1 ability. The L1 ability looks like a riot shield, and it makes sense because you use a riot shield several times throughout this trailer. Also, on the right-hand side, on the R1 button, we can see this like little drone-looking thing, and what I assume is that's like a turret drone you can throw up in the air. It also says 4 above the R1 button, so assumably you have 4 of those turrets. I don't know if that's what that ability is for sure. It just kind of would make sense to me. So as the trailer continues to play, we can learn a few things. First of all, as we get into the plane, we ask, is Ethan in the back? And Ethan is in the back. Who is Ethan? It's our robot companion throughout this. Kind of like we had a dog in Call of Duty Ghost, in this one we have a robot. Then this suck up here comes in and says, have a good one, Captain, be safe out there. So we're going to be safe out there. We've put on our helmet, and we now have our oxygen. As the spaceship closes, we then go into outer space. Now, assumably, we are able to fly this spaceship. It's not just a cutscene, but I'm assuming there's several missions throughout the game where you actually get to fly this spaceship. Also, I really hope you don't have to go through this cutscene every single time you start a brand new mission, but the takeoff sequence is pretty cool, at least for the first time. So at this point, there's a couple things we can point out. First of all, as we go towards our launch sequence here in our Jackal, there's a couple things to point out. The screen goes black there. What that means is that 1, we could be in a different mission than we saw us select, or 2, it's just there to show a lapse of time. It actually happens several times throughout this trailer, and I'll point out every single one. Also, back there when we were getting into our ship, the person inside the ship called us Captain, which means we are not just a lowly Marine. We actually have some sort of higher level of ranking within the organization we're in, whether that be the Marines or whether that be a Navy, whatever it is. Next up, we are going to explode this plane in front of us, and then boom, once again, we have a black screen. Once we either spawn back in or something happens here, we are either now in a different plane, or again, it shows a lapse of time. Why they do that, I'm not 100% sure, but as you can see, this is the exact same ship we just flew over. So as we pull up towards the ship, we get towards and experience our first instance of zero gravity. So as we get to this instance of zero gravity, we need to pause the scene right here. First of all, our L1 and our R1 abilities are completely different. Our L1 ability is now a grappling hook, which you're going to see used several times throughout this, and our R1 ability is some sort of grenade. How do I know it's a grenade? Well, first of all, it says 4 uses above that R1 button, and later on, he actually goes about throwing a grenade, and assumably the throw grenade button is still the same in this game. Also, if we look at the weapon, we can see that it's some sort of M4. You can see the shape of it on top of that yellow tag sticking off the side is both perfect indicators indicators that this is either an M4 or some variation of one. This is what you call a zero gravity fight scene, so the way you travel throughout this is with your grappling hook. Obviously, your grappling hook is very important when you're in outer space, and you can even kill people with it by grabbing them and then ripping off their mask. Like I said, really hope that isn't in multiplayer. Next, you're able to see that grenade I was talking about in action. He goes ahead and throws one right here. As you can see, it's kind of lightly thrown into the air and then goes and uses like a jetpack or something like that and boosts towards the enemies. A couple things I've noticed throughout this, it seems like in this mission, especially the missions in outer space, it's going to be very hard to get from cover to cover. So on harder difficulties, it's going to be very difficult. Here you can see the grenade used again, and as you can see, the grenade count is going down. So I was right in my prediction that is a grenade. Traveling throughout here, again, we can see another use of the grappling hook. He pulls the guy closer, attaches a grenade, or sorry, pulls the trigger on his grenade, and then he blows up in the air. Next up, I see a plot hole right away. You go ahead and start to breach this window, and instantly as you do so, the people on the inside roll down the metal armor, and guess what? Boom, there goes the window. Once you do get inside the window here, there's a few cool things. First of all, you get inside using jet thrusters, I guess, as you could see on your teammate previously, and then you tell your teammate to go ahead, close the windows, and turn that gravity on. I didn't know using gravity was that simple, but as it happens here, as soon as our feet hit the ground, we really need to hit that pause button. So, first of all, the weapon we are using here, first of all, that changed back when we were in outer space, so I have two guesses to what it is. First of all, it seemed like it had an SMG fire rate, so the two guesses I have are SMGs. First of all, it kind of looks like the MTAR X back from Call of Duty Ghosts, just a little bit. Other than that, it actually looks like an FAM AE. I'm not a big gun nut, so I can't tell you much about the gun, but just based on the pictures I've seen from weapons, that's kind of the gun it looks like to me because of that outer casing towards the front of the weapon. Next up, we can see the two L1 and R1 ability as soon as our feet hit the ground change. So whether that's you have two different sets of abilities, one when you're in zero gravity and one when you're in gravity, I'm not 100% sure, but as soon as our feet hit the ground, they changed. Our L1 ability is now a riot shield ability, as you're going to see. When you're using the riot shield, first of all, behind your hand, there is actually, that's holding the riot shield, there's actually a power level that you can see while you're using it. So as soon as that power level runs out, you cannot use the riot shield anymore, and obviously you're going to get into some trouble then. Also, when you pull down the riot shield, you're going to notice that there is like a cooldown time. You're going to see that certain amount of the bubble around the riot shield symbol is actually going to be yellow, and it can take some time for that cooldown to go down. Also, that R1 ability, you have 4 of them. They are gravity grenades. As soon as we are able to use them in the trailer, I will show you exactly what they do. But as you can see, the little up arrows on the grenade means that they are gravity grenades. The one thing I will say about the weapon, though, is it doesn't reload like either of the weapons that I stated, so I'm not 100% sure. But as we go up the ramp here, we use our riot shield, and we can see this guy using a massive weapon. Whether that's an LMG, a sniper rifle, or an LMG, I have no idea. It seemed like he was firing it more like an LMG, so that would be my guess. But like I said, not a big gun nut. But as we can see here, we now throw our gravity grenade. As we throw our gravity grenade, the people we throw it at start floating upside down like a dying ant. So we can fire at them, and then we start to make our way down here, pull out our SMG looking thing, pull up our riot shield, and then we can see which people are dead and which people are alive because of the red outlines. As you can see, that reload animation there isn't like either of the weapons I stated. I don't even know a weapon that reloads like that. I don't know if it exists in real life, but you can let me know down in the comment section below. And then you can see here, we finally get into a fight with a robot. We kind of like rip his battery out kind of looking thing, and then this part is so cool. We're done with the fight. We've killed as many people as we could. As soon as we pull this lever, something opens, and guess what? We open like an airlock thing, and all of a sudden, everything is flying into that airlock. Forklifts, crates, people, you name it, they're floating down there. So as we go into here, we can see Ethan, our robot, float down towards our ship. We kill a couple more people, another one with a grappling hook, kneeing him in the face, and for some reason we have a very strong knee that can break open his face. Then we grappling hook back down into our jackal. So as we float off in outer space, we can see our large ship we were on prior peppering this ship and destroying it. Why we just didn't do that in the first place, I have no idea. But we now completed the mission, and that's the end of the E3 reveal trailer. We then see that the release date is November 4th, 2016, and at the end here, there's one important thing I'd like to note. It says that the campaign first is on PS4. Yes, you can get the campaign for Modern Warfare Remastered 30 days early. Nowhere anywhere does it say anything about getting the DLC early on PS4, which means the DLC might come out at the exact same time on PS4 and Xbox 360. We're yet to hear anything about that, but as soon as we do, I will let you know. The exclusivity may only include the Modern Warfare Remastered campaign, but I'll let you know. What do I think of this trailer? Well, there's a couple of parts of this. First of all, as far as multiplayer goes, I hope it's nothing like this. This is far too futuristic for the multiplayer to be at. There better not be grappling hooks. There better not be gravity grenades. The guns look alright, and in fact, seeing the guns perform, it actually makes me think the multiplayer might be alright, but there better not be any of that futuristic shit like zero gravity, or I'll be really, really upset. But as a single player campaign, this actually looks pretty good. Like, for a campaign, if this wasn't Call of Duty, I'd look at this game and be like, you know what, I'll play this, but we'll see. We're yet to see what it'll be like. I can't wait to get my hands on it, but let me know what you think down in the comment section below. You may not have enjoyed the trailer, but if you enjoyed the video, it would be fantastic if you could leave a like rating, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I upload new Call of Duty videos every single day of the week, so if that's something sounds appetizing to you, it would be fantastic if you could hit that red subscribe button down below. So thank you so much for watching. Check out my Twitch, Twitter, and second channel down in the description, and until next time, guys, peace out.
Yeah.